Last night, the news broke that Donald Trump would be selecting Pete Hegseth to lead the Department of Defense. It was a surprise to many, for me, largely because the name hadn't been floated. We've seen a lot of people get appointments and we're like, yeah, we heard Trump maybe want someone like that, or this person has been floating around. I thought Kash Patel was going to be CIA director. It was floating in the news. And then it turns out it's going to be John Ratcliffe. Now we're hearing that Kash Patel may be the FBI director, and my fingers are crossed. So I hope all of you who are on X are tweeting that out and pushing that, because I would love to see Kash Patel as FBI director, or at least in somewhat of a strong leadership position, because he's a guy I can trust. Hoping. But he's a good dude. He's a friend of the show. We've had him on several times. So with that being said, he didn't get it. Then Pete Hegseth pops up and everyone's taken by surprise. Now, who is Pete Hegseth? The media is coming out and they're losing their minds. It's a Fox News talk show host. That's who Trump chose? Well, sure. That's like saying Tim Pool is a mini golfer. Like, I play mini golf, I guess, but that doesn't really describe what I do for a living now, does it? Pete Hegseth is a 20-year combat veteran. He's got, I believe, 2 Bronze Stars. We'll go through the whole list. He's a veterans advocate. He was an officer. And you know what? I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'll tell you why. Donald Trump is known for listening to the guys on the ground more than the, let's just say, ass kissers. He pissed everybody off because these generals would be like, here's what we got to do, Trump. And he'd be like, sure. Then he'd look over to the actual guys on the ground and say, what do you think? And they'd be like, how dare you ask them? We have credentials. And don't get me wrong, Lloyd Austin served in combat as well. And I'm not trying to denigrate anybody's service because I ain't never served. So I got no beef with Lloyd Austin other than the political issues that have taken place in his tenure as Secretary of Defense. We can criticize that. But what the media is now doing is they're not saying, and Democrats, they're not saying Pete Hegseth, combat veterans advocate with extensive experience and Ivy Leaguer. They're saying Fox News host. You know what, man? Let me tell you. I have disdain for many Democrats. I feel like they lie, cheat, and steal quite a bit, and they anger me. They anger me. But I have never felt such a visceral disgust as when they started attacking Pete Hegseth and trying to undermine his record and lie and manipulate people. Because you know, when Elizabeth Warren and the media and they come out and they say Pete Hegseth is just some Fox News TV guy, there's going to be some 60-year-old woman watching CNN, and she's going to be like, now Trump's picking talk show hosts. Oh, no. And you're going to try to say to her, this guy's a decorated combat veteran with 20 years of experience. They're lying to you. But as they're lying, and I can get pissed off about them lying, they're besmirching the good name of a veteran. These people are disgusting. Here's my favorite part, though. The whinging, the brains exploding. It just goes to show that Trump made the right choice with Pete Hegseth. He's criticized wokeness in the military. He said women should not be serving in combat roles. He wrote a book, and they're saying this is likely why he got the nod, because he wants to get rid of wokeness and bring back meritocracy and lethality to our military. But you know what really makes me happy? When Politico interviews a defense lobbyist who's like, who the F is this guy? We wanted somebody who worked at Raytheon or Lockheed Martin. I'm kidding, but that's basically what they're saying. The whinging is palpable. Let me give you the news first, and then I'll show you the mental breakdown Democrats are having over this. Post Money reports, Trump has named Fox News Pete Hegseth to head the Department of Defense. Quote, I am honored to announce that I have nominated Pete Hegseth to serve in my cabinet as the Secretary of Defense. Trump said in a statement, Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. Pete is a graduate of Princeton University and has a graduate degree from Harvard University. He is an Army combat veteran who did tours in Guantanamo Bay, Iraq, and Afghanistan. For his actions on the battlefield, he was decorated with 2 Bronze Stars, as well as a Combat Infantryman's Badge. Pete has been a host at Fox News for 8 years, where he used the platform to fight for our military and veterans. Pete's recent book, The War on Warriors, spent 9 weeks on the New York Times bestsellers list, including 2 weeks at number 1. The book reveals the left-wing betrayal of our warriors and how we must return our military to meritocracy, lethality, accountability, and excellence. Pete has also led 2 veterans advocacy organizations leading the fight for our warriors and our great veterans. Nobody fights harder for the troops, and Pete will be a courageous and patriotic champion of our peace through strength policy. Hegseth is co-host on Fox News' Fox and Friends on the Weekend, and a Fox contributor since 2014. The War on Warriors, Behind the Betrayal of the Men Who Keep Us Free. It's a New York Times bestseller. He was CEO for Concerned Veterans for America and is a veteran who served as an infantry captain in the Army National Guard, serving in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Guantanamo Bay. Hey, this guy sounds pretty good. Who else you gonna pick, right? I mean, seriously, you're gonna pick some defense contractor lobbyist garbage like that? I don't know, maybe your VP can have worked for Halliburton or something like that. Here's Politico. Who the F is this guy? Defense world reacts to Trump's surprise Pentagon pick. Hegseth is undoubtedly the least qualified nominee for SecDef in American history, one veterans advocate said. I find all of these people disgusting. You had that guy. This is what's going viral. You have a man who is serving in HHS, who wants to be a woman, who wants everyone to identify as a woman. You had a guy who was what was his job? Nuclear advisory or whatever, who was stealing luggage at airports. And then everyone's calling out Pete Buttigieg. What was small town Pete's qualifications for Department of Transportation? And when that train exploded, where the heck was he? And you know what? I am not someone who routinely does shows and says, how dare you appoint this person who's unqualified? I've never criticized any of Biden's picks in that way. We just say, okay, I guess, sure, we all agree this is probably not the best choice, but what am I going to say, right? This guy's a 20-year Army veteran. The least qualified? The least qualified would have been Kamala Harris. Here we go. National security officials and defense analysts had braced for surprises from Trump after experiencing his first 4 years in office. But even grading on that curve, they say the announcement on Fox News and decorated Army veteran Pete Hegseth caught them totally off guard. Me too. We were getting ready for the show and the news broke on Laura Ingram's show. And I was like, whoa, what? For real? Wow. My surprise has nothing to do with whether he can do the job or not. It's that this one we did not see coming. And I'm excited because this is a guy that, let me put it this way. I don't know the guy personally, but there are a lot of people right now that Trump is bringing on or has in his inner circle that I can actually talk to. And I know not everybody can, but for a lot of these administrations, the people they choose are out of touch. Like, who are these guys? Trump is now choosing people, some of whom I can text and be like, hey, what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? That makes me a bit more comfortable. And who am I? You know what I mean? These choices are closer to the ground, closer to the people. And I believe that Pete Hegseth represents that. I hope he does a good job. I'm not saying he's going to be perfect. Here we go. Quote, Trump puts the highest value on loyalty. Eric Edelman, who served as Pentagon's top policy official during the Bush administration, said in an interview. It appears that one of the main criteria that's being used is how well do people defend Donald Trump on television? Oh, seriously? I'll tell you what it's really about. Pete Hegseth wrote a book breaking down wokeness in the military. We've all, as regular people, seen wokeness in the military and think it's a problem. Hegseth is a boots-on-the-ground guy, not an ass-kissing politician. And Trump is notorious for asking the guys on the ground. No, I know. I'm not trying to disparage Lloyd Austin specifically. He served in combat. I got no beef for people's service. I'm saying Trump looks at the generals and the contractors and he says, I don't care what you think. I want to know what the guys on the ground are thinking. They're the ones who are over there right now experiencing this, and I want to hear what they have to say. And this is what pisses them off. Donald Trump is going to choose a regular guy. Now, I'm not saying Pete Hegseth is a regular guy. He's got 2 Ivy League degrees and he's got Bronze Stars. I'm saying he's not playing that elitist game. He's playing the populist game. And the machine is losing their minds. One assessment was more blunt. Who the F is this guy? Said a defense industry lobbyist. Who the F are you? Defense industry lobbyist who was granted anonymity to offer candid views. The lobbyists said they had hoped for someone who actually had an extensive background in defense. That would be a good start. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was the joke. Pete Hegseth didn't work for, Raytheon. So can we really trust him? The revolving door politics of endless wars and garbage intervention needs to stop. And I hope Pete Hegseth lives up to that. Just earlier today on Fox and Friends, it was, I forgot the woman's name. Is it Rachel Campos? Am I getting her name wrong? Sorry if I am. But she said, I texted him, no new wars. And we're like, yes, no new wars. My friends, I'm anti-intervention. But I do believe there are circumstances in which we send our troops overseas. I really do. When we declare war for legitimate reasons. We've not done that since World War II. None of these wars we're fighting are legitimate. Okay? If there are real threats to our interests, to our people, and Congress says we're getting involved, I may not agree. But I agree with the American system. I agree with our political system. So while I may say something like, I do not want us to intervene, I will not support it. If it happens, I say I will argue against it, but I understand it. That is the system. But that's not what Congress does. That's not what the executive branch has been doing. They've been funneling money to foreign wars without declarations against the will of the people. And that is the antithesis of what the American system is supposed to be. But let's get to the whinging and why Democrats are, Here's Jim Acosta. In a sign that he's been making his cabinet selections while watching TV, Trump picks Fox anchor Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense. Jim Acosta, you are a guy who whinges on TV. Well, actually, not even anymore, I guess, right? He's probably going to get fired because CNN's firing everybody and they have no viewers. But you're a man who whinges to a camera, to a very tiny audience. You are the dirt Pete Hegseth stands on is more qualified to comment on this than you. That's why I'm saying right now, look, I can criticize Lloyd Austin for being MIA. That was a big story, and he didn't tell anybody that he was going to surgery or whatever it is he was doing. But I'm not criticizing the guy as a choice. I'm not criticizing Lloyd Austin for anything he's done in that regard. I say, he's served in combat way more than I did. And so when I see Pete Hegseth, I say, oh, that's really cool. Oh, wow. But these people, they know better than you. They know better than everyone. Here's Elizabeth Warren. What an awful person. A Fox and Friends weekend co-host is not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. Sure. How about a 20-year combat veteran, 2 Bronze Stars, and 2 Ivy League degrees? 20 years. How's that? Is that good enough for you? Why'd you leave that out? Because you are liars. Elizabeth Warren says, I lead the Senate Military Personnel Panel. All 3 of my brothers served in uniform. I respect every one of our service members. Donald Trump's pick will make us less safe and must be rejected. What? Why would you then not include Pete Hegseth's extensive track record? It's because these people are liars. Oh, Harry Sisson, this guy has no leg to stand on. He says, Donald Trump just named Pete Hegseth, a Fox News host, as Secretary of Defense. We are so screwed. To which Ashley St. Clair says, he's a Princeton graduate and decorated veteran who sacrificed for our country in Iraq and Afghanistan. You keyboard warrior squish. I will pay you my next year's worth of X payments to go to Iraq. To which Sisson says, this is so goddamn stupid. Are you saying that this guy, who's currently hosting Fox shows and is not holding any position in the military, is the most qualified person to be the Secretary of Defense? Lloyd Austin is a 4-star general, and you guys slammed him for 4 years. God, you're such a Trump loyalist. It's disgusting. St. Clair says, Hegseth currently serves as part of the individual ready reserve, you cerebral speed bump. How dare you disrespect someone who has made a sacrifice for our country behind your keyboard? Offer still stands to send you to Iraq. He keeps going. Is there more? So I know reading isn't your strong suit, but let me repeat my question. Is the guy who's currently hosting Fox shows the most qualified to be the Secretary of Defense? If his service makes him qualified, then I'm sure you'd agree that Tim Walz should be in the admin too, right? And please spare me the holier-than-thou attitude. You're a loyalist as someone who said John McCain isn't a war hero. It's effing pathetic. Harry Sisson he's intentionally obtuse. His whole game, his whole shtick is Democrats are right no matter what in all circumstances. Hey, Harry, we've invited you to come on the show. I never ragged on Lloyd Austin. I've literally said throughout this video, I respect his service. And who am I to say? Pete Hegseth is a 20-year combat veteran. You say, is the guy currently hosting Fox News shows the most qualified? Who said that Trump needs to choose the most qualified? Trump is choosing someone he believes to be qualified. But how about this? I'll answer your question with yes. The guy who part-time hosts Fox News show and it serves as a part of the individual ready reserve and who has written a book on fixing the military, I'd say he is the most qualified. Next question. He's got 20 years of experience as a combat veteran with 2 Bronze Stars and 2 Princeton degrees. That's credentialism for you. But just simply the fact that he was an on-the-ground officer, I'd say, sounds good to me. Trump made his choice. And I would never disparage someone. I didn't even disparage Tim Walz. I've repeatedly defended his service. The only criticism I have is lying about his rank. See, I don't play these games. I don't see Ashley playing those games either. You play those games. This is what you're doing. It's what Elizabeth Warren is doing. Acting like he's just some Fox News host. And it's disgusting. Man, I cannot stand these people. I was in favor of Tulsi Gabbard in 2019. She was the best choice in my opinion because she was currently in the National Guard, still is. She's anti-intervention, anti-war, and that was what was most important to me. And I said, she is a liberal. She represents many of my values, not all of them, but this was what the party needed. And you know what? I didn't see you around at that point. I think you were like 16. I think it's 5 years ago. I think you were 16. And so maybe you weren't actively involved. That's okay. But here I was lining up with the Democratic Party, and I was making these donations, max contributions, Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. I said, that's what I want. I didn't disparage her. I said, no, that's what we need. When Tim Walz was chosen, I didn't say he's a fake troop or anything. I said, wow, he's lied about his rank. That's a fact. He's admitted it. He said he's a knucklehead. He didn't, And I've repeatedly said when people have ragged on him, hey, look, man, I'm not going to rag on a guy's service for 20 plus years. I don't care if it's the National Guard in Italy or anywhere else. But he shouldn't have lied about carrying weapons of war. And he shouldn't have lied about serving in Iraq. I should say he alluded to. He used assumptive language to trick people, whether intentionally or otherwise, into believing he served overseas. But I'm not going to criticize a guy, any service. That's what you're doing. A Fox News host. Why don't you just tell people the truth? You know what, man? That's what Greg Gutfeld said a couple days ago. Democrats, their entire culture and worldview is downstream from hoaxes. And this is what they do. Pete Hegseth is a Fox News host. We're so screwed. Why didn't you say Donald Trump just named a 20-year combat veteran and a Bronze Star recipient and Ivy Leaguer to be the Secretary of Defense? However, this guy is for the past years largely been known for his role on Fox News. Though he does serve in the individual ready reserve, I don't believe he's the most qualified for the position. If you wrote that, I'd say, okay, yeah, interesting. Tell me more about who you think would be a better choice. Honest question. Instead, these duplicitous scumbags lie about a decorated combat veteran. Look at this. Awards: Bronze Star, Army Commendation Medal ×2, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Expert Infantryman Badge, Combat Infantryman Badge. And I say, okay, all right. He's a young guy. He's criticizing the machine. And I'm excited to see this. If Trump chose Laura Ingraham for Secretary of Defense, I'd be right there with you being like, are you kidding? Really? How Pete Hegseth's book on woke Pentagon helped him land a Secretary of Defense position. Good for him. Good for him. Here we go, baby. The meltdown is here.
The former and future president is moving quickly to fill the clown car and round out his cabinet before he changes his mind and fires them all. Moments ago, Trump announced that he has selected Fox Weekend morning show host, you can't make this up, Pete Hegseth, to serve as Secretary of Defense, because why not? The former and future.
This is why MSNBC is collapsing. Their key demo ratings are about 70,000, and the reports are that they're going to be sold off. Last night, we had 85,000 concurrent viewers on Timcast IRL. We were featured on the front page of YouTube all night, default, not signed in. Wow, I can't believe it. We have about 700,000 views on YouTube. We have over 100,000 across audio platforms. And we're tracking for several million unique views across the entirety of the show's lifespan. So probably around 4 to 5 million views, perhaps. And this is because of clips and things like that. And you know why that is? And I'm not trying to brag, but kind of a little bit. And I think I deserve to. And I think you all you deserve to as well. I get those ratings because of you guys who are watching my videos. And yesterday, my morning video gets close to 300,000 views, and most of my videos get over 200,000. And that is largely key demo. About 175K is key demo. That's 100,000 more than MSNBC's Joy Reid or whoever else can muster up. And you know why I'm bragging about this? I'm telling these people when they lie, cheat, and steal, they are inauthentic, they are manipulators, you lose. So Joy Reid can whinge all day and night. We are the future. Bye-bye. Enjoy retirement. I hope you have a good time hanging out with family and drinking your sun tea on your porch rocking chair and all that good stuff. I mean it. I mean it. We'll take care of telling the truth to people, not lying to them. This one's really funny because Aaron Rupar was trying to insult Pete Hegseth because this is what he does, but it's just based AF. Listen to this.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated. We've all served with women and they're great. It just, our institutions don't have to incentivize that in places where not traditionally, over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
I don't know why people are mad about this. So the left is furious. I absolutely love this. Like, here's a bunch of people on the right saying, good. Let's see. One guy says not even a controversial take. There was wait. Do I have the actual post here from Rupert? Yeah. There was a post from these leftists, these Democrats, and they're like, he's so disgusting. How dare he? There's a lot of people saying, yep, he's right. 100% right. That's what everybody's basically saying. But the liberals were insulting and attacking him. And never trust a man who talks with his hands. He should take a look at what women have done in the IDF, blah, blah, blah. I have an opportunity. I believe we have an opportunity here. And that is we should offer up all of the Democrat women who are attacking Hegseth over this an opportunity to serve in combat. You know, it's funny. I'm a guy. And even I could not serve in combat. It's not about just being a woman. It's about very few men can even do it. We're talking about when it comes to combat, there is the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Most guys don't qualify. Most women don't qualify. And there are complications with women in combat. Now, that being said, I don't 100% agree with the blanket statement. And Pete Hegseth wasn't even saying that. Many people have pointed out that he was saying that there were certain roles in combat women can actually serve. And I think he mentioned pilots and things like this. That's at least the counterpoints I've heard from the right. I think he's talking about boots on the ground combat infantry. And yeah, look, if there is a woman who is massively above average and she's capable of carrying the weight and fighting, then honestly, I actually don't have an issue. So I don't know if the issue is women. I think the issue is in general. On average, men tends to be bigger. And if you're only going to take the top 1 percentile of people who are capable to put them into combat, then typically it's going to be male, 99.9. And so I say, okay, sure, fine, whatever. It's not an issue of being a man or a woman. It's an issue of greater male variability. It's I talk about this with CEOs and stuff like that. There are 500 Fortune 500s. That's why we call it Fortune 500. There are 330 million Americans. Only 500 people get to be the CEOs of the top companies. You get women going, how come there's no women? Because greater male variability hypothesis says that it's about, I think it's like 5 or 10 to 1 or 9 to 1. In terms of at the highest levels of capability, you have, let's say, out of all of the people on the planet, 10,000 guys, but you only have 1,000 women. But there's only 500 jobs. So it's very unlikely, whether skilled or otherwise, that a woman gets the role. Let's say you have 10,000 equally capable men and 1,000 equally capable women. It means you are not going to get gender parity in Fortune 500s. It's math. It's not discrimination. You also have substantially more male idiots. But this is research. I'm not trying to disparage women. Of course, they're losing their minds. Then we got Trump Jr. Here we go. The swamp fears Pete Hegseth because he's an American patriot who isn't owned by the corrupt military-industrial complex. He wants to end wokeism in the military, stop the stupid forever wars, and put America first on the world stage. Hear, hear. So I'm down. Let him lie, cheat, and steal and cry and lie about who this guy is. But you know what? Once you see through the hoax one time, there's no going back. So I hope all of you share this video, smash the like button, follow me on X and Instagram, but share this video with people who are listening to CNN and these liberals who are lying. You know, I will say one more thing, too. I'm at the point where I'm wondering, having watched this David Pakman video the other day, why we're bothering criticizing CNN anymore. They're collapsing and firing everybody. They have no ratings. They don't matter. So it's kind of like, oh, maybe we should consider the liberal media to be, Kyle Kalinske, David Pakman, Crystal Ball, Brian Tyler Cohen. And for a while, I was just like, I don't care about YouTubers. I care about what the machine is doing. Yeah, they're not the machine anymore. This is the podcast presidency. It has changed. Let's go. Smash that like button. Like I said, we got more segments coming up all day. Next one will be at noon, and we will see you all then.